That's there. We are live. Click on this thing and check that we are live. Yo, yo, yo. So yeah, if we do it on Saturday, I'll just release it for the next day because I can edit it on Sunday. So we won't need to do a double this Saturday.
Gotcha. Just do that on Saturday.
Correct.
Cool.
Correct. Make sure. Okay, that's there. Who's that? One ago just sent me that. That's good. Come over to here. Still can't hear this. Try again.
Are we live now?
It should be, yes. Yep. Can hear me speaking as well. Got that. Did I send this one out yet?
I am sweet.
Come over to here. Tick, 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 tick. Hear this. Try again.
Q.
Are we live now? It should be, yes. Yep. Can hear me speaking as well. Yeah, turn it off so we don't get the feedback.
Tick.
Cool. Alright, so just got a minute. Wait for some people to come in. Teat. He's on the teat.
What question are you going to put in there?
What should I put it in one?
Not sure. What particular theme do you want to run for this one?
There we go. Can the world ever eliminate corruption? Is my starter off question.
The world ever eliminate corruption?
So that's part of what I'm going to bring up. Cool. All right. I think we are almost to go. Go. Come on, Ozzy. Come on. I gotta say, I'm very disappointed with the... Hola, Patricia. ¿Cómo estás? I'm very disappointed with the times of this World Cup. I just assumed, it's going to be...
At a time that's reasonable for me.
Reasonable. No. I mean, the 8 p.m. game's fine, but all the rest are... No. Not unacceptable. I mean...
I reckon that
could be
the
worse.
5 a.m. is actually perfect. I reckon it's actually genuinely the perfect time because it allows people to tune in the morning, listen to it on the radio, and then go to work.
Why would you listen to it on the radio, though? That's the real question.
That's true.
All right, here we go. In the world, no. Patches of eradication at different points in history for different society? Sure. Well, we're going to investigate that, Dean. Coming up soon. All right, here we go. Woohoo! Welcome everyone to another episode of the Mere Mortals Musings. My name's Kyrin here.
Got one on the other side.
One on the other side of the microphone, and we are the Mere Mortals. And this is an episode where we dive deep into a topic, a theme. In particular, today I've kind of got the title "Complete Transparency on a Large Scale."
Complete transparency on a large scale
is the general topic, and I'll define that more in a second. Deep conversations with a light-hearted touch. That's what we're all about here. So, what do I mean by that? What do I mean by complete
transparency on a global scale, large scale?
Yeah, so I've got a little definition here.
Okay.
And this came up because we were talking in our Discord with one of our supporters of the show, Petar. And we're just talking about Bitcoin in general. We had a big chat with him not too long ago, and that was kind of one of the main themes. And... especially with all this FTX debacle and shenanigans, and you can kind of get an insight into just how shoddy, I'm going to say large entities can be. So this can be things like a government, can be a corporation, can be, your local soccer club, can even have, I'm sort of thinking if it's got more than 30, 40 members is where things can... It's like an entity. There's like a it's not just personalities anymore. It's like the club itself or the thing itself has an entity. So in particular, I'm going to say this does not encompass individual truth telling nor seeing into people's minds. So when I'm talking about complete transparency, it's not like a truth telling device or things like that. So when I've written down, think of the Pentagon Papers rather than individual recorded meetings. So if you know what the Pentagon Papers are, it was basically during the Vietnam War in the US. There was all these recorded documents and just a slew of reasons of why they were continuing the war, why internal things were suggesting that this war could never be won, and yet that wasn't what was kind of reported to the public. It was, we need to do this for democracy or some bullshit.
Yep.
So you could look at that, and when I say complete transparency, I mean like of those broad scale things rather than a individual meeting, someone saying something individually. So
gotcha.
that's so it's kind of the ability to look at a company as a whole or its strategy as a whole rather than a particular action, because particular actions involve people and they can fuck it up. So, if we're using a recent example, the complete transparency of FTX would have been to see, okay, where exactly are they storing users' money and in which wallets, and what is the general trend of them moving money back and forth, rather than an individual transaction that goes to an individual wallet and you're like, well, that could have been done for might look slightly shady, but it could have been done for a legit reason.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So
fair.
that's the topic, and how will the world change if we do have more complete transparency, or if this hypothetical transparency occurred. That's the general definition.
Gotcha.
I've got
Okay.
for today.
Okay. Cool. I like it.
So I want to start with this one, which was the BTC. So there's the triggering over it. So can you handle the transparency? So imagine a world where the financial rails are now Bitcoin. So we know, there's only ever going to be 21 million produced, and you can see when it's getting produced. You can see which addresses, got the latest, parcel of the reward, the latest reward. You can see back into the very beginning where every BTC or Bitcoin has moved around. You can see wallets, you can see all this stuff. And the world is now kind of operating like that. So there's no just Australian government prints a bunch of money. It's like, no, we just roughly use BTC or Bitcoin. Do you think the kind of the world could handle it? Is there something in your mind that would make you think like, oh, it's too transparent? We as a society wouldn't be able to operate.
In a way, I mean, so we were talking a little bit with Peter about this, and the notes that I was taking down for it was, it kind of reminded me of, if I look back in the past, history of the past, it's almost the knowledge of so much, say, I'm going to go with the extreme here. So the individuals or the particular holders of really large amounts of this wealth. So if we're saying, we're utilizing Bitcoin, and let's just say the wallets remain as they are in its distributed state.
So in the moment, the mysterious Satoshi wallet has about 5% of it. It's got about 1 million, something like that.
Yeah, something like that. And if you actually...
So 5% of all Bitcoin.
If we bothered to look it up, I think it's something in the order of like, there's 1,300 wallets, something like that have got over 1,000 Bitcoin or over 100,000 Bitcoin, something to that effect, right? Yep. So there's like, sorry, it must be 1,000 Bitcoin.
I'll see if I can bring up the chart while you're speaking.
It's like just Bitcoin wallets. So we'll bring this up. But basically, there would be, if we are talking about that, the world is being run exclusively on Bitcoin, then the market cap would be an equivalent. And so there's going to be some very, very wealthy individuals, entities, and the like. This is going to be out of control in the particular way that I'm about to say. So what it made me think of was, all the way back in the day with Genghis Khan equivalent. So he would have a giant amount of power, right, from a the ability to control things, the ability to do things. And I felt like, if I think about it, seemed like it could be controlled in a way, or it could be handled, but that probably wasn't widely known, like known by every person in the world, like that this person exists and had this much sway, this much power and the like. Well, what's the number of the large ones?
There's 3 wallets which contain more than 100,000. There's 100 wallets which contain more than 10,000, and then 2,000 wallets which contain more than 1,000.
There you go. Okay.
So there's how many is that? That's 2,000, roughly 2,150 wallets, which contain 42% of all the Bitcoin.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. So just to give you a bit of an idea, obviously, on something like that. So back to that point of, back in the day, there would be these people with large sways and large power, but not everyone would have the ability to know that realistically, because just the information wasn't as widely shared. And it kind of makes me think, okay, if in the future you have almost a replication of that, where you have these sort of individuals with a ton load of, say, access to the money, and one of the notes that Peter sort of says, like, well, currently, say, Bill Gates, we don't know that Bill Gates, how he moves around his money and uses it, but we know that he's got a ton load. Same thing with Elon Musk, same thing with Jeff Bezos. So what's kind of the difference? And then my note was kind of like in the past, it's the differentiation of the amount of breadth and reach, but with the possibility of stateless power. So, I go, okay, if we're fully using Bitcoin, and in my extraction here, I go, okay, well then that means we don't have, say, multiple currencies, fiat currencies across the world, right? We're all just using Bitcoin now. Under that assumption, I go, okay, the state, the ability of government, state regulation is probably going to look quite different. Is it going to be stateless? Maybe not. Probably not stateless. Mm-hmm. But there's going to be a lot more sovereign use of your wealth, of how you use it. And so I go, okay, it's a little bit dissimilar to how a Bill Gates and an Elon Musk or a Jeff Bezos operate right now with that much money, because these individuals will have more, so like just go more sway with now I'll look at it in the evil way, the ruthlessness that they actually can go on and do whatever they want, because it's a little bit more uncontrolled in that way, unless regulation comes into play. So I kind of go, can we handle it if it was to go down that route? I don't know. If I kind of go, I'm not going to say no or yes. I feel like I'm sitting on the fence, but I go,
oh, he's taking a Kyrin approach.
I'm taking a Kyrin approach. And I go, I think it'd be so well known that there are people with incredible wealth and power, not too dissimilar to today's world of the top people who are earning a lot. But unlike today's world, where you might be able to you have to kind of leverage that power. You have to leverage that money in certain ways with your state and your government, and play sort of hot potato across different jurisdictions and governments. Where in a world with Bitcoin, I'm not saying it would go away completely, but there'd be a dropping of some of these boundaries that move towards, okay, there might be a propensity, like one of these large entities, players, whoever, to do something bad and have the free will to go and do some, like whatever. Will that knowledge or that idea cause people to be like, okay, no, we can't handle this. Like that's not a system that we can operate in for that potential reason. So I gotta get, I don't know. That's why I'm a little bit fence sitting at the moment.
Okay. Yeah. I'll take a stronger approach.
Okay.
I think we can handle it, Juan.
I think we can handle it.
And so my reasoning goes somewhat like this. So let's, like you were mentioning, there are people with incredible wealth at the moment. Absolutely incredible. And though we know it, we kind of don't see it either. I don't get really in my face view of just how wealthy Bill Gates is, or how Elon Musk is, or choose anyone in the top 100.
Yep.
And you can sometimes see it because you can type in Michael Jordan mansion or something like that, and you just see this opulent, way grandiose building, more rooms than you know what to do with, and you go, okay, how can that exist? And 5 kilometers away or something, there's people on the street, or what, maybe 100 Ks, I don't know. And I was thinking, my initial thinking was we wouldn't be able to handle it. Imagine the whole world's, kind of on the BTC rails. So I'm paying for things just like I pay now. Buzzes, my phone goes, and then, I see 10 Satoshis go across because now Bitcoin's worth a fuck ton. Fingers crossed. And then I just see, it would make news. Holy shit, 1 million Bitcoin has just been moved from this one wallet to another wallet. And then I was imagining the world would be burning. People are running in the streets going like, oh my God, 5% of the money has just moved. Something like that. But I thought a bit deeper and I went, would that actually happen? What could you actually do if you moved 5% of the world's money? And this was kind of what I was chatting with Peter about was the liquidity. It's the liquidity of it. Elon Musk may be rich as fuck, but he can't really move all of it very quickly. There's not like so much of it would be tied up in stock options and things, which if he dumped on the market would then become less. So much of it would be tied up in real estate and just those assets which aren't super, super liquid. Whereas, if Satoshi just moved 5 million Bitcoin, well, he could do that, and he could also do it at a 1 million Bitcoin. He could move it, and then also at a cost of almost nothing. Like it is truly, truly liquid. But then, I was thinking like, okay, but what would actually happen? Oh, he just moved it. Oh, he moved 1,000 Bitcoin to this charity. Would that how would the world be crumble to its feet if you just saw, okay, a huge amount of money just went into a wallet that we know belongs to this entity, or it's connected with this organization, which is freedom fighters in Iran or something like that. So in that case, what do you think? Do you think people would lose their minds if it was starting to be seen just in their face how and this sort of shit happens all the time, like George Soros and the Clintons and BlackRock, they do all this now, but we don't really know it.
Yeah, well, that's one thing. So I think it'd be what would happen today in the shadows, exposed to the reality of the world. And if we think that sort of rails use of Bitcoin is going to be the financial system, then you'd be silly to think that some sort of that effect will continue, will not continue to happen. It will, but it'll just be in your face. And in your face also meaning that, oh, hey, by the way, it's still going to continue happening. So now are people going to be losing their marbles? So you give the example of like, hey, whatever million Bitcoin get moved, and it's 5% of the whole money, and it goes to a good cause. Well, that's awesome. What if it goes to this reigning power that, let's just say there's still states or governments, but it goes to Russia, and then cool, okay, we're going to use that to completely destroy all these countries and take over. Are people going to be, are they going to be completely cool about it? No. Are they going to be upset about it? Maybe. Will it be too much for some folks who right now, via the media bandwagon, that, the information that gets put out in articles and headlines like, oh, okay, we want to incite fear. Well, what if you knew all the shady stuff that's happening and you could go and find out about it because now it's open ledger? I think there'd be a lot of people who'd be like, oh, holy shit, I can't believe that this entity is actually controlling all of this, and holy crap, what's going to happen? Yeah,
but then I guess the question is, would they do anything about it?
Who would?
The random Juan and Kyrin on the street.
Well, this is what I go. I go, what does it? It makes me think, and I don't know how it would operate, obviously, because say if you knew. So I'll take the example then today.
Yeah.
If you could see exactly how the fiat financial system worked, and some people might be more informed of how much dodginess is happening, some not. If you were exposed fully to how dodgy it could possibly be and is, let's just say, would you want to participate more in the system or less?
See, I would probably, I'd be inclined to say less, but then it's also I feel like it would be so far beyond of, it's just like, this person's doing this thing is fucked, this is fucked, this is fucked, this is fucked. Like, it's all fucked.
Yeah.
And then I'd probably just have to go like, well, look, it's so bad.
Well, this is why I'm sitting on the fence, because I go, oh, it's so bad. Because, it sort of is, but isn't the only game in town, right? If you're going to interact with the world using fiat system, right? The other game in town is starting to be cryptocurrency. There's Bitcoin. There's everything else. Okay, maybe you want to operate into that field because you're starting to be able to. But in your example, if we now have just Bitcoin that we're operating with, that's the financial system. Fantastic. But again, if you can see and actually verify that there's all these dodginess happening, because there will for sure still be dodginess. Like it's not going to be just grounded out of humanity.
Yeah, we'll get onto the corruption.
And we'll go into that. But if that still exists, I then go, again, is the mentality of people going to be like, okay, is this the only game in town, or am I going to move to something else where maybe there's more control and doesn't allow something like this amount of freedom because we can't handle this. We can't handle knowing that, all this money that we're supposedly giving to charities, actually, none of it's getting there. It's actually all getting sent through to this other...
Yeah, like the middleman.
Something else. And it's like, oh, okay, damn. Now, it's like, because you see it all, you go... Okay, well, I'm not going to do anything about I'm not going to give them money. But let's just say, in whatever way, shape, or form, you can still see there's money going to that effect and going elsewhere to do something heinous.
Let's just say there's an app where I've been donating $15 a month, I think, for about a year now. And to one of the effective altruism.
Call them SPF. Call them Sam Bankman and Dean.
I still think the concept is good, but fuck, have they tarnished their branding? Jesus God. In any case, what would happen?
It wasn't their fault. Wasn't their fault.
Well, William McCaskill shouldn't whatever. He made a bad call. Made bad call on friend choices. If imagine there was an app and it's like, I see exactly where that $15 goes. I can see in portions. I'm like, oh, $1 of that just went to fucking SBF. $1 of that actually went to this random person or to this corporation, which does, etc. And then it's like, oh, okay, 0.87 cents or 87 cents, let's say, actually went to that African who I thought was actually it was going to, or to that company in Africa or something. Then that, I feel like that would definitely be an incentive, be like, fuck this, I'm not going to support all these people when I know my money's not getting to where I want it. And then that's where you'd probably just go, oh, well, maybe now I can just send it exactly where I want it to go. How, if I wanted to support someone in Africa or a company making mosquito nets in Africa right now, I don't know how I could do that. And I feel like if I tried to send that from here using the current financial system, like they're not going to there's no way Aussie dollars are getting to Namibia via me just typing in blah, blah, blah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But, and again, it's I go back to like the handling of the truth. Like, let's say again, we're in this world where this is occurring. So in this financial system, you can send things directly and you can prove it on a ledger. And so you send it directly to this company. You like, okay, cool, I see that company. I'm going to send them $15 a week because that's the best thing I can do. But then you can see that they're actually sending money to like the mafia every month or something like that.
Yeah.
Now you don't know, again, because again, the system is different to like the reality of some actions that get taken. So what if they're doing some of that, they're actually building some nets and putting some nets together, but you're still seeing all this money go through. Now, can you handle that reality? It's kind of like, that's the part of like, can you handle the transparency that, oh, actually to build this, they have to pay off this mafia, or they have to pay off this syndicate, or they have to pay off this whatever to do this. So that's the effective bit. They're doing the nice bit, but actually you never knew that they're actually having to pay off drug lords or warlords or whatever this much money to do it.
Yeah.
Then it's like, oh, can you handle that?
Yeah.
And I guess it comes to the point. Can you? I have a feeling that more overwhelmingly than not, I feel like not, but that's why I'm like on the fence. I'm just like, I don't know, because
I think we'll all become nihilists.
Well,
I
just think we'll evolve to accept a lot more of the brutality that infuses with, because it's like when it's almost like
you could make an analogy to eating chicken or something like that. If you want to be a meat eater, it's probably worthwhile for you to know, okay, this is what, this is how chicken nuggets from McDonald's get made. And you see the mass factory farming and whatnot. And it's like, can you handle that? Because that's what you're eating. That's what you're kind of participating in. And so I think it's good that those videos were made and kind of proliferated. And then, people still made their choice. That was, breached the consciousness enough. It was definitely in the news and a lot of people know about it. And yet it didn't completely change everyone into being vegetarian or vegan. So, but now you're a little bit more aware of what's going on behind the scenes, at least.
Yeah, so, that's true. Yeah.
So I think there's plenty of analogies where it has more transparencies come to light, and you think, it's gonna, no one's gonna touch a chicken anything again. And it's like, no, well, it probably did influence some people.
I just kind of go I'm just imagining, so taking that to the full extent of, so imagine if it was full transparency or information. So, I don't know, on the pack that you're buying of chicken, and I think I've tried this before, it's like, they've got the chicken's name or the number of it. You see the date
Fred is so tasty.
The date they were killed, the babies that you lost, all this sort of information. Now, obviously, they don't need to, they can. Yeah. Again, that that further information, does it take people away from participating in the system? Maybe.
Well, that's where it's kind of dodgy, because it's like you're anthropomorphizing, like you're giving chickens and animals.
Yeah, you're giving them
this is what this chicken would have had a.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. I'm not giving it yet. Not giving it like the qualitative, but the quantitative information of. Yeah. This was the death of the chicken. This how old the chicken was. This was like how many babies it has. All the details.
Yeah.
To some people, it will turn them off. Again, what I'm saying in from the financial system is if you knew let's say in this world, again, if government existed, so let's say if the government still existed in the same way they do today, and you're like, oh, by the way, the Australian government's giving all of our money, basically 99%. So, you're still paying taxes, and 99% of your money is going to Russia to go destroy the environment.
Yeah,
and you're like,
is that what
you know what? You know what? I don't like this. I can't handle this truth. Too fucking bad. What are you gonna do about it?
Yeah.
Type of deal. At that point, it's like, what are you gonna do about it? So, that's why I was like, well, if that still exists, you then go, well, I don't want to participate in this. But then if every government's doing that, then you go, well, fuck, I don't want to participate. But then is that even an option? So it's like, I think it depends on multiple layers on how the world looks like at that point. That's why I'm like, okay, I have to fence it. I don't have enough information to commit to something.
Okay, I'm more optimistic. I think we can handle it, and I'll provide some more things. But I think we should maybe do some Boostagrams.
Cool. Let's do some Boostagrams.
Yeah. So,
any comments on them?
Yeah. Actually, I have a couple of people in the chat here. So I did see Dean, who is did I see him at the Cardano thing? I'm not sure if he was there. Wait, he must have been. Yeah, I said hi to him, but I'm not sure I chatted with him for too long. So he was saying, the world, no. Patches of eradication at different points in history for different societies, sure. So there's responding, can the world ever eliminate corruption? Peter says, no. Can we create a fairer system? Yes, absolutely. Technological advantages give power to common people. The printing press is one good example. Good stuff. Thank you, Peter. And then Dean also says he's got to run, but public knowledge through ledgers is a step in the right direction for knowing where your money is going. Charities are a great example. Government spending, nice. So thank you, my peeps. Good points there. And I want to touch upon a couple of those in particular. Yeah.
Yep. Cool. All right. Boostagram Lounge, folks. Once again, this is the things that keep our podcast spinning around, which is the Boostagram to come through.
So just a quick caveat here. I was trying to show people this technology in live in person a couple of times these last couple of days, and a bunch of my own ones didn't even make it through. So but it shows that they got sent through. So if we're missing any, apologies. I think Satoshi's stream might have been down for a little bit, and I've joined some more Telegram groups to be able to bitch and moan when that happens. So
good. All right, first one here is from Mint Line. Satoshi stream test. Cool. Okay. Yeah. And that was 111 sats sent using Breeze. And then we got three here. Two from Peter. So the first one from Peter, who's on the chat right now, sends 7,777 sats using Fountain. As someone who has worked rotating night shifts, I definitely agree that bad sleep patterns is detrimental to one's physical and mental health. One day I hope to get back to waking without the need for an alarm. It's one of the great joys in life.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Oh, yeah. I agree.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, on the holiday that I just took to Hamilton Island, the whole time. Yeah, no alarms.
Yeah.
Now again, I was sleeping. I was probably falling asleep at like 8.
Yeah, your internal
8:20.
clock was still getting
Yeah,
up
so I was
pretty
like 8:20, and I was going up at 3:30
Oh my
sort of
God.
thing. And I was like,
fuck?
I was kind of like, oh, I'm ready to rock and roll. But I was like, I would go back to sleep until 4:35 sort of thing, and be like, cool, ready to rock and roll.
Sleeping
So yeah,
until 5.
woo, it was a great joy. But yeah, absolutely agree there, Peter. And the second one from Peter is, I'm definitely not a psychotic killer on the loose. Definitely. 7,777
He thinks he
sats
doth
using
protest
Fountain.
too much.
So thank you very much.
We know you're not a killer, Peter. You're a killer. You're a killer good friend. You're a killer good friend.
Killer good booster is what he is.
Oh yeah.
So those two from Peter. So again, once again, thank you very much, Peter, for those two. And then we got Dave with his weekly donation to the boost for the Mere Mortal Light Nation. 12,112 sats sent using Cron.
The Cron job.
Dave, thank you so much for
so
that.
much,
really
Dave.
do appreciate it. And those are the Boostagrams that we got in our list there. As you said, there might have been a couple that were down. So if you did send some during that time, our apologies.
Yeah, for sure. No, I love. I tuned into the latest episode, Podcasting 2.0, and I triggered them with like I was ranting about FTX and not even about FTX, about the people I was watching who were bitching about FTX. And then sponsor is Crypto.com or Nexum or some other bullshit.
Genesis or whatever else.
Yeah. And it got them off on like a huge tangent. But Dave was also, he was, I think I said something else, and then he recommended like the most obscure epistemological book about
Damn.
It's like Power and Law or something, and I've written it down on my list. I doubt I'll be able to find it.
48 Power and Law or something like that. 48 rules.
No. That's like a mainstream version. This one was called Warrant and Proper Function by Alvin Plantinga.
Jesus almighty.
Yeah, Warrant and Proper Function. That's the name of like those philosophy books. Probably have nothing compared to this shit.
To the thing. Yeah.
But he's good. He's got the good stuff, Dave Jones. So thank you, Dave, and thank you everyone for helping boost in and support. I was actually running some of the numbers, and if everyone who sent in, I think it was probably about 10 cents. So that would be what, 100 sats, 200 sats maybe. Mm-hmm. If they either streamed or boosted in that amount, who listened per week, that would like cover our costs and then some easily.
Wow.
So it doesn't take much, even if you're just streaming in a little bit.
Yep.
It
goes a long way.
Yeah, it's all those little bits and you just doing your part. So if you're feeling bad about boosting a small amount or anything, because that's all you can send in, don't. Please. Every little bit really does count. So just want to say thanks for that, and we do try and take notice, and we do notice. We
call them out.
Got the big list, and I'll make sure. I said I was going to at the end of the year do like a big compiling of all the different shows. And I'm pretty sure it'll be like over 300, 400 supporters across everything.
Yeah,
I think
that'll be awesome.
So yeah, more to come on that point though.
Good. Thank you, folks, for that.
Yes, thanks everyone. So corruption was one I wanted to bring up. So you would, when I'm imagining complete transparency, so this is just now. Well, I'm talking not about Bitcoin, but let's just say we can see into kind of the background of what happens in a company, for example, or in a government. So you get access to, once again, doesn't really matter the particular individual meetings where someone says like a naughty word or someone says something really fucked up and is bitching about some dickhead that they work with.
Yep.
That we don't need to get to that granular level, but we do see, these emails here, but as a rough email train suggests that Australia is going to pull out of the nuclear submarine deal with the US, with France, and we're going to move over to the US. And the main reasoning behind of this is because our prime minister doesn't like Macron. That's like the main reason. And you're like, you can kind of see that level of being like, well, what the fuck? We broke a contractual agreement because you just don't like this guy. That's fucked up. So the other thing with that would be, I guess, the corruption aspect. So if this is kind of the thinking, I was like, if we got to that kind of level, what would it take to root out corruption would something like a transparent ledger where you can see all the movings and toings and froings, would that be enough to root out corruption, you think? Or would humans find or at least diminish it severely?
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be...
So I think my answer is like, no, you can't get rid of corruption.
Impossible to get rid of...
Impossible. Would it diminish it?
Completely.
Yes, but I think not as much as maybe at the onset of me thinking about it I would expect. I think it would be a diminishing, but of a small amount. Mm-hmm. So the one thing that my mind went to was... Again, we're going to pull to crypto, right? There's been big conversations at the moment all over the place, and rightly so, about proof of reserves. We want to see the proof of reserves. How much do you actually have on your exchange?
Where's the money? Where's the money, Lebowski?
Now, for you folks at home, if you're listening to me immortalize, right? If I say to that proof of reserve, if you were to see that, would you trust an entity, a company? Yes or no, right? So I want you to answer it on YouTube and whatnot. But from your perspective, if let's say one of the exchanges you use, let's say it's Binance or CoinSpot or whatever, if they came out with the proof of reserves and here's our reserves, here's the proofs. You go, would that go, cool, okay.
2% more. I would trust them 2% more.
Right. And look, fair. Like when I first sort of like started reading about it and hearing about it, I was like, there'd be more trust. But I was actually listening to something in particular just recently, which I was like, oh wait, of course. Because you can, a couple of things. One, again, it's more transparent, but it's also what you know. Like it's also the information that makes sense to you.
And they can leave addresses off, which maybe that address is.
That's true. So I mean, but let's just say that they do. No. So, but it's the information that's available is one thing. It's you accepting the information is another thing. It's you understanding the information that's another thing, and the other loopholes that can be done in terms of accounting and the like. So again, with the example of proof of reserves, they can go, hey, we have 1,000 Bitcoin. Wonderful. Now, point in time, okay, maybe if it's on a ledger and it's completely transparent, it's real time. Okay, that's kind of cool. You can see it all the time.
Yeah.
But that doesn't take into account, what's their existing, secured and non-secured loans, right? Because again, this is FTX, and whatever happened with FTX and Sam or whatever, who knows? Yeah. I don't care to go into it.
Yeah.
But if you've got an exchange and they're saying, "Hey, we got 1,000 Bitcoin," but they've got an unsecured loan for 10,000 Bitcoin somewhere else.
Yeah.
That's not a part of proof of reserves, and that goes down, you're fucked.
Yeah. Or by the way, we actually shared the seed address for this with this company over here.
Yeah.
And that's their kind of like collateral in a way as well.
Exactly.
It's like a joint account.
Yeah. So I actually found out about this recently again. So with it was Mt. Gox in 2014, because they're originally Mt. Gox, and for those at home, go check this out again. We're talking a little bit more specifically on crypto about corruption, but in 2011 was the first hack.
Yeah. You've been listening to some Jesse Powell.
Jesse Powell. In 2014, ultimately, that's when they kind of like all the money went out. But I like the story. I didn't actually realize that the hacker was basically just knew he was there in the cold wallet, just like taking away the money as the other person was just moving from the hot wallet to the cold wallet, and then realized like, oh shit, there's no money in the cold wallet. But again, there, you could be transparent in seeing what's happening in a live ledger over in the hot wallet, right? And for all you might, you can see all the stuff without the information, the knowledge, the know-how to go and be checking this thing that's happening here, right? So it's kind of like, okay, I go, is it going to be a decrease in corruption? Yes, because there's more transparency, and from a natural being, you're probably less wanting to be caught, you're less wanting to be seen, so there's more transparency in that way. It reduces it. Does it get rid of it completely? No. Does it get rid of it as much as I think? I don't think so either. I think it just gets rid of some of it, but I also think that they will find new and fun ways to also obfuscate and change around. So again, we know that there's 100 wallets out there that have got a fucking ton load of Bitcoin. You have no clue who they are, mostly, right? Now, once again, just because you can verify and see transparently that one thing's moving to another, let's move away completely from crypto. Let's talk about, I don't know, cows, right? Or nuclear submarines. And we go, hey, we know that the Australian government is sending, let's say, nuclear rods to this other place, right? Because we know that this addresses the government, but we have no idea who this other thing is. We have no idea, but we can see that that's happening.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, you're informed and you can verify it, which is a good thing. But then it stops. That's where it stops, because that information being there doesn't mean that everything about the transaction's informed to you. So without that, it's like, okay, that could still be corrupt in some way. You don't know. So they could still play around. They could be using like multiple wallets. They can be using whatever. So, well, when I say wallets, I'm saying like, say this transaction is through a ledger and they can obfuscate it or do something else to it. So I go, okay, there can still be definitely corruption in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Look, I think it's a kind of like sliding scale. So in my view, if I've written this down, so like what's one of the biggest problems that's like stopping the well-being of everyone on Earth? And I actually probably would put corruption right up there. So I was saying, if you could eliminate natural disasters, lying about intentions, stupidity, the 7 deadly sin, like one of the 7 deadly sins, physical scarcity, fucking thermodynamics stopping you from getting those mad gains, I honestly think it'd probably be corruption that's the worst, because it seems to have this infectious effect where the person who's corrupt, it's like they touch someone else and then that person is now corrupt as well. And so you see this kind of like spreading contagion. Whereas if it's someone who's just really angry and they're like an angry board member or some shit, that anger doesn't necessarily translate into a super angry company. It's not like everyone in the company is now super angry. Whereas I think a corrupt company is kind of corrupt from the top down to the bottom. It seems to work like that, at least in my opinion. So I was thinking, okay, so you're correct. With the ability to view corruption, will it stop it? No, because you can kind of hide it. You can still obfuscate a little bit, but definitely with something with the ability to actually get into it and see it, there will be more people who will have that, tenacity to keep digging. And it's the, which is a less corrupt world, the one now where if a bridge is going to get built, it's compare it to like a king building a bridge from their treasury in the 1700s, or a publicly traded company which is now building a bridge and has to report their financials more or less.
More or less, yeah.
Which of those is better? Well, I'd say in terms of a corruption aspect, you're probably going to get less of it in the current era, where there is more reporting going on. There's more information being made available. Yes, it's hard to maybe digest. They spent this much on building supplies, but their cement costs were only this much, so they're fucking diluting it and they're actually putting in some cheap ass plastic or something like that. So it is hard to find that out, but it's certainly easier than the king says so it shall be. And
and I agree. It's like it lends itself to be less corrupt, because you almost have to work harder to be corrupt than it was in the past.
Good point. Yeah.
But I would just say, yes, it does, but it just doesn't. I don't think it would do as much, like in the sliding scale. If the king is 10 corrupt and some fantasy is 0 corruptness, I would say, if the current day world is at 8 of corruptness, I think you'd move towards like a 6, not a 2. I'm going to go, you move a little bit better, but you're not moving like all the way down to no corruption. So I go, when we think of transparency, like that sort of global scale, so you're talking currencies, you're talking food, you're talking whatever, there's the aspect that into the system is being fed information from humans. To get it all the way to no corruption, you'd almost have to remove the humans. You'd have to this would be like the point where, and I think Raoul Paul was talking about it with in some podcast today, where he was basically like with Tom Billier, where it's like, okay, well, to a certain extent, you'd almost have to like reduce humanity to not being working at all to get to a particular point in time where, okay, it starts taking off for the machines and being able to do a few other things. But it kind of makes me think, okay, well, yeah, if you really want to reduce corruption, you're going to have to take away the folks, the beings who inject corruption via information in the first place, which is humans. So if you have, a machine that's just operating on pure algorithm facts, let's just say of like, this person moved from here to here, there's this amount of concrete, so this is what it means, this is what it not means. So there's no shade, there's just black and white to it. Okay, then you could probably get rid of corruption to it. And I'm not going to say 0, I'm going to say like 1 or 2.
Yeah.
But with the humans still in play, yes, you could be as transparent as you want, but there's still humans being corrupt.
Yeah. And all the other things that come with humans, you sometimes just straight up don't know what you want or your reasons for making a decision.
Here's
make a decision, and it's not clear even to you why you made that decision.
Well, here's an example as well from like how I would look at it and how we might react like that. So let's just say humans are still in the picture, but who's making these ultimate decisions where the information's being sourced? So if we're Australia, if you're donating money, if you're putting money because of taxation or donations or whatever it may be, and you find out the government is, again, sending this money to like, the money's not being used to fix the roads, it's being used to support the next liberal candidate, or it's supporting another country that operate. You go, there's corruption here, there's obviously bad stuff going on, you can see it. You're going to be like, this is unjust, like what's going on? You might want to punish people, you might want to like go out and protest about it. The government could be like, so what? This is what we're doing, right? So there's kind of like human against human because of all this. The entities are run by humans, and so there's active choices being made that we believe is like a conscious decision. Now, imagine what that feeling would be like to then similar decisions being made, but it's being done by pure algorithms in the sense of like, okay, cool, you've given us this money, and based on like the most good that it can do in the world, it's still giving it to this country that you hate. But it at least for me, it kind of feels like it takes away a little bit of the feeling like it's corrupt, because okay, cool. Well, if that's like this algorithm that's been put into place, and it's just doing it no matter what. Okay, well that's what it is. It's black and white. There's no other choice. And it might itself it might be corrupt. It just feels like, okay, well fuck, nothing can be done anyways. At least I know. Cool. Move on, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of differentiation in that.
For sure. So to sum up, I want to actually just bring something Peter talked in the chat here. So he says, I don't really understand the counter argument to having more information. Ignorance is bliss, ? So would that be the counter argument? And so if I was going to steelman it, it would be something like this. The average individual can't handle it because it's almost like too confronting. Like they've created their bubble, and like I'll include myself in this. I've created my own bubble of how I think the world works. And if I had more access to information, I would see, the world is a worse place than I thought it was. It's people are more backstabbing. There's more brutality. There's more corruption. There's more, just list off negative qualities. Bam, 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 bam. I'll never be able to get ahead because I don't want to behave like that. I'll never be able to get ahead. It's an unjust world, I guess, would be the kind of outcome of that. And humans, look across every civilization, humans don't like injustice, basically. Then that's why we have every civilization has some sort of law system. Basically, there's none which, and that law system at its root is what is just and what is unfair, and you look at kids, if they're trading lollies and things like that, and one's behaving unfairly, that there's like social repercussions even as kids and whatnot. So that would be the reason why I would say, if I was steelmanning it, that would be the reason why the world can't handle it, and it would be better to not have it.
Yep.
But the counter argument, and what I actually believe is that's a logical reasoning which doesn't play up to what actually happens in reality. So I've just finished reading, or almost about to finish reading, this book called How Innovation Works by Matt Ridley, and it's really examining innovation across the years. So it goes over things like light bulbs and the technology in food, in social ideas, in like whole bunch of different things. Check out the book review next week. And one of the things he talks about in it is when people are trying to stymie innovation, they usually are using regulations, IP laws, or it's like we need the safety net of a daddy government because this new product that's going to come out is going to kill you.
It's going to do X, Y, Z.
Yep. And in individual cases, it certainly does. There's certainly be times where shit has fallen through the cracks, and women have had access to medicines which actually aborted their baby fetus and things like that. Definitely does happen. But on the whole, regulations, the IP laws, and stifling of innovation hurts way more.
Correct.
So much more.
Yep.
And this is where I'd be the same. If you think that there needs to be some sort of obscurity, that complete transparency is actually going to make us all turn insane or make us all turn nihilistic or something like that, I'd say no. Almost all the cases of things becoming more transparent, things get better. And so that would be kind of my summation of why complete transpansy, at least on like a large entity scale, is beneficial and should be leaned into.
I think what that final that summarization is, for me, it's like complete transparency is better for the world, not for the individual. So as a collective, it's better for the world. If you knew specifically, or anyone listening, they're like, oh, by the way,
I'm specifically getting fucked over.
You can specifically see that hospital killed your dad because they wanted this kid to live.
Yeah.
That's probably a shit thing for you to like have the full transparency over, because it's like, okay, can you handle that? Or being like, hey, we actually, from like a work perspective, there is a sort of like information that actually you're able to see fully in a conglomerate way. Like, hey, by the way, they promoted this person over there because they needed someone with 3 eyeballs to get promoted, but not you, and actually we're kicking you out and you lose your job and all this sort of stuff. So at the individual level, can you handle it? Maybe not. If things aren't swaying your way, you're fucked. But at the broad scale, like if you look at it globally, I think yes, it's a better thing overall. And I think in the conversation of can we handle it, maybe not at the individual level, but maybe it's a thing that we'll learn to handle at the global level, perhaps.
Yeah, and I'd even argue that that'd be a real outlier case. You'd have to go really looking for that one particular thing which is going to fucking just destroy your life if it became apparent. And if things were becoming more transparent just in general, unless you're really masochistic and like, look, I want to fucking have a mental breakdown because of X. I just like, because everyone's a victim. Like there's no doubt about it. Everyone has been fucked over by something at some point in their life. It'll probably be a pretty nasty thing. You didn't get promoted for this, even though you were. Yeah, well,
that's why I can't agree that overall, can we handle it? Yes. Like I can't say yes. Like I can't full-heartedly say that. Yep, we can all handle the transparency. I think it's like I'm in the fence where it's like I can see it not being handled in some ways, but I personally think it would be a great thing.
Yeah, I think we can. I've got faith.
You got faith. I've got faith in humanity.
I've got faith in humanity, and on this particular aspect. Many others, fuck no, we're fucked. But
on this aspect, we're okay.
On this one, we're all right. Yeah.
Good.
Cool. All right. Thanks everyone for tuning in to the Mere Mortals podcast. As we mentioned, there's a value for value podcast, and we are completely transparent with what we do here and how we support ourselves. There is no sponsors, no advertising, no paywalls. What you see is what you get.
However, if you want to support FTX, they have been a great contributor. No, I'm kidding.
You know what the most fucked up thing is? I went onto their website. So, like a little story time here before I rehash that. Yeah. I went onto their website because I do remember at some point I was like, oh, maybe I should see, like, I've only got really 1 or 2 exchanges that I use. Maybe it's good to diversify my exchanges as well. So I signed up for FTX, never actually used it, but I still think I had my login details. Okay. So I went on, checked it out. You can still deposit. You can still deposit. You can
still deposit money,
Like, that just seems so fucked. Because how many, there's got to be some people who don't know. They don't read the news, or they don't believe any sources, so they're still like, oh, I'll just use it like I used to.
Yeah. Do you also know that the day that people could still get money out from FTX, and I don't know if this was the international, but maybe it was just the US, you could still get your money out, but because they filed, and I think it was a backdated bankruptcy, Chapter 11 in the US, all the money that got pulled out has to be returned back because it's part of the Chapter 11 bankruptcy. And I was like, damn. Yeah. So.
Yeah, imagine trying to get that money from people who it's like,
there's
this is my
There's
money.
no way it would be coming back from me, Sam. If I had money in FTX, that money wouldn't be coming back. I'd go to the Bahamas and beat you up and not give it back to you.
I don't know, when daddy government comes calling with some lawyers because they want some money. Yeah, a lot of people cave on that.
Yeah.
But in any case, we don't do that because we're completely transparent with every bit of support. Well, as much as we can be. Look, it's so hard to keep track of this shit sometimes. Like I was saying, the technology is hiding some of my own, like some of the sats that I send myself go missing into the nothingness, and I have no idea if it's sent or not. So complete transparency in terms of
what we can get,
what we can see, and we do try and display this. So if you go onto our website, you'll see on the meremortalspodcast.com/supporter, you'll see the top ranking supporters for the Mere Mortals show, the Mere Mortals book reviews, and the Value for Value. Like I said, I'll do an end of year thing at some point, and we'll probably create a blog page for that, which I can link in the future.
Yep.
But yes, and the reason we do this is because we want the world to be better. We don't want to become corrupt and to be influenced either knowingly or unknowingly. And I would 100% be, if I just like to think if I had any integrity at all, and I was the Bankless guys or the Kobe or any of those people, and I had a podcast, and we'd accepted sponsorship from FTX, and then we were also accepting from some other fucking custodial thing, and we're commenting like we've got the contriteness of having to admit we fucked up, and then, by the way, here's our sponsors supporting this. I like to think I would just stop podcasting then and be like, I'm worthless. Like this is so fucked. I'm a useless human being.
There you go, folks. That's a summary. That's
me throwing some shots across the bows.
But I agree. I mean, again, the whole reason for podcasting 2.0, and I think more what you think is like the overall value for value model is that if you've been embroiled in the whole FTX, or you've been done in with maybe misinformation or disinformation or something else, getting onto these sort of platforms or utilizations, and at least supporting us, gets you into a system that hopefully, it's not going to be immediate, but in the years to come, kind of moves us away from that ability for people to, let's just say, screw you over in that way, and gives you at least more control. It gives you more power, more understanding, at the very least, of like, okay, cool, this is how I can operate in a way where, again, you're moving control away from different entities back to yourself. And I think there's a lot of other podcasts, not just our own, which participate in the value for value model, which are doing it in a way that, you can see quite transparently. And I do hope that it'll be the case for not just podcasting models, but like models, much broader models, where it's incredibly transparent. So you can see like, if let's just take an example of like Bankless or one of those guys. If it was super transparent, that you could go in and see like exactly how much money these people were getting paid, exactly who's going on the podcast, if they're paying them or not, even if you would be annoyed, there'd be a little bit more transparency and like goodness behind it. Even if it annoys you, like if you go, oh damn, they've got Sam and Sam's paying them $100 billion, or what's that Aussie guy, Fred Chuparese or whatever his name, who created Finder.com. And they had a crypto side of it, and he's semi-famous for building this massive mansion in Sydney and all that. And it just came out recently that he'd been paid by FTX and all these different people, and then they've taken crypto down from Finder.com. I see this, Fred, and I go, man, again, if it was just tell it. If you're not ashamed of it, tell it, and at least there'll be a more reasonable going. Okay, cool. I saw that you were getting that, and now I can understand with the information that's being shared. So, anyways, Mere Mortals, that's what you get from us. It's unadulterated information from the Mere Mortals.
So just two examples here, and I know we're extending this on, but it's important, worth talking about. One was at a recent event, a guy, Richard, I'll call him out as well, was saying one of the things that he enjoys most about this show was the transparency. It was, I know exactly where I stand with you two. I know there's nothing behind the scenes that's pulling the strings or influencing you. Or if there is, I can kind of see it on the surface and I could use some... It's there. The information is there. Whether you make use of it or not is up to you.
Yep.
I talk about Hosky, but I also have a whole bunch of it. And I make that very clear. And I try not to be a shill, but there is going to be obviously something in my mind, which is like, if number go up, that's good. That's
exactly.
good for Kyrin, So there is that. And then the other is on my end was really watching all these shows over the past 2 weeks. And there's probably like 5 of them. Bankless, Unchained, the Up Only, Robert Breedlove, Coin Stories with Natalie something. Every single one of them had these fucking ads in it. And I was just outraged, man. I was
outraged. The man's outraged by ads.
Absolutely outraged.
He's going to get to the point. He's going to get to the point that he's not going to listen to your audio or content if it's got ads. And you're going to like think 10% less of like the human that you're bringing in on the side.
What will happen is I will still listen to their shows for the guests because they get good guests on. Like I don't want to miss out on what Eric Voorhees has to say or Corey Clipstein. But I will be like trigger point on the fucking phone. As soon as that guest stops speaking, I will just skip forward to whatever they were saying. Definitely skipping the ads as well. Fuck that shit. And it's not even... I used to think that my hate against ads was the wasted time, the interruptions and whatnot. And there is an element of that, but it's now more the kind of moral outrage. It's like the ethical rage.
Look, I'm going to say...
befuddlement.
There are some ads that I do like. There are some ads that I do like.
Look, there's it's a big ad, a classic Aussie beer ad where it's...
Well, no, I won't even say that. There's some genuine ads. They don't have to be good, but I genuinely...
It's relevant. It's completely like it's transparent in the sense that this is why I support this thing. This is why it's important to me that you know about it as well. I get it. Ads aren't all bad, but there's certain ways of doing it where it's just so fucked up. And
absolutely.
This last week has exposed to me the really fucked up bit. And what's the solution? Well, I tune into the generational wealth with cryptocurrency, Macintosh. What I really like is that he is very adamant. He's like, I will never take, sponsorships. This is my true thoughts. And look, he talks about the markets at the front, and I think that's bullshit. Like, I don't care. So I just skipped the first 5 minutes or 7 minutes where he's talking about Bollinger Bands and other voodoo. That's fine because I still... Yeah, I get his thoughts. I in terms of trust levels, you got to have... I can't analyze everything fucking rationally and logically. That's impossible. So there's got to be some trust in some places. And I certainly trust him more than I do the Bankless guys.
Yep.
Yeah.
So there you
go. There we go. Big rants. Big kahunas over
basically,
here.
as we finish off, we say
We've solved the world.
Go watch Bankless. Kyrin supports them 100%.
Yeah, 100%.
All right, folks. Thank you very much for joining. For those on the line live, appreciate it. Thank you for the commentary as well. For those who sent through the Boostagrams as well, thank you very much. And for now, we say adieu, au revoir,
ciao,
goodbye,
auf Wiedersehen.
That's all, me immortals.
Tschüss.
Juan out.
Kyrin out.
Good.
Bien.
Bueno. Très bien.
Man, let me tell you a story, and this will be for the
live
people
folks
who are still tuning in. So this girl came to the calisthenic park today. Little kid tagging along, probably like 1 or 2 years old.
Yep.
And she was like a Latino that Juan would approve of. So I like petite girls in general, but she was thick. She had strong. She was strong. So like you could see
strong Latino.
You could see. Oh yeah, she's
like abs. Like
she's put in
shapely
work. Yeah, she's put in work in the gym.
Yeah.
And as I was chatting with her, I found out she's like, yeah, I spend 5-6 days a week at the gym. So I was like, okay.
Fair. Yep.
Well, it
shows.
It shows.
Sense. Yep.
Yeah. And
did you get a number?
No, but it came up that she had a partner or a boyfriend or a man of some sort.
Yep.
And I was like, okay.
Did you get his number?
Yeah, fuck. It's pretty good. She called me shredded.
Shredded? Okay, yeah.
That one's like, kind of makes sense. Calling me jacked is like, that's...
Yeah.
You might be a bit delusional. But
Yeah,
shredded,
that's
can
good
see
one.
it. I had my
Yeah,
shirt off.
yeah.
It made sense. She spoke fucking 6 languages, man.
Damn.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Because I
Portuguese,
heard
Spanish,
her. Yeah, I heard her speaking
English.
Spanish, French, Italian. Because like her, some part of her family is Italian as well. And then I think she was learning another one. It's like,
wow.
Fucking and she spoke
impressive.
The 3 that I
heard her speak
I didn't hear her speak Portuguese, but obviously she's a native. But her English was great. Spanish was probably better than mine as well. It's like,
wow,
fuck,
impressive.
Fucking yeah, and she was good looking as well.
There you go.
Why they all taken one?
Wow, they all taken. Kyrin's too late, folks. Kyrin's too late.
Like
I've been telling him, you're gonna find out, dude.
Yeah, I'm fucked.
You've left it too late.
I'll have to train him myself. Peter, thank you. Good show! Exclamation mark. Thank you, Peter. Much
As
appreciated.
always, appreciate it, Peter. Thank you very much.
I'll be in the Discord if you feel like chatting. Juan's going to be in the on the road.
I'll be on the spacecraft. In my new car today.
New car?
No, actually, well, not new car. You'll hear about it meandering, so you'll hear about the meandering. It's not my new car. It's a new car.
Oh, fuck.
It's a new car. You can see all the fucking keys on my... Look at this. It's huge, folks. Huge.
It's got a rental new car.
Yes. Anyways, folks, I hope you have enjoyed the podcast. For those live, and yes, Peter and all others who listened, cheers. Thank you very much. Take care. Ciao.
See ya.